What's up guys, Anubhav here. Welcome back to a brand new video here on the channel. Now you guys must have already read the title, and yes, this is a little bit different than the kind of videos that we usually make. But it was 2020, wanted to do something new, something fresh, and I kept thinking that I've done all of these app videos, but I've never done a 50 apps or a 100 apps edition, and how cool would that be to actually make, and what would be the things that I would have to know to do this. So with that being said, in today's video we are looking at 100 best Android applications that you should download. So yes, it's going to be a long video, so you better sit down with some snacks, with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, whatever is your poison. And once you're here, let's get started. We're dividing the applications into 4 different categories. We've got productivity, we've got customization, we've got photography, and then we've got a collection of games. So if you break it down, there are 100 apps in 4 categories, so there will be 25 applications in each and every category, and there are timestamps in the description below if you want to quickly jump into one category. In case you're not interested in customization apps or games, you can quickly jump to the photography and the other sections, which is the productivity section, right from the description below. Now with that being said, let's not waste any more time. I've got 2 phones in front of me, as you guys can see, my trusted Samsung Galaxy S10 and my editor's phone, Utkarsh's phone. This is the Redmi K20 Pro. So without any further ado, let's get started. And the first category that we'll be starting with is going to be productivity, as you guys can see. And the first app that I want to talk about in this list is called Social Mob. So Social Mob is essentially an application which is a collection of independent music artists, their music podcasts, as well as, you know, lo-fi radio and all of that stuff. Now, all in all, this is an application that is pretty new. Not a lot of people have downloaded it, and it has an increasing collection of independent artists. And really, if you want to find music, good music that isn't mainstream, or you just want to listen to, you know, some podcasts as well as listen to some lo-fi radio, you can just double tap the application to turn it on. And all in all, I just think it is a great application for anyone who wants to listen to new music as well as find out the new independent artists that are out there, and the app is doing a great job at it. So definitely be sure to check it out. Alright, moving on, at number 2 we've got Deep Stash. And if you guys don't know about Deep Stash is essentially an amazing application that lets you pick different categories such as self-improvement, time management, communication, and then gives you stories as well as ideas to, you know, essentially boost the way you look at these applications and the kind of ideas that you get. So everything behind, you know, scientific facts and all of that good stuff with motivational quotes and work ethic and all of that stuff, you can find it in one simple application in 100 words or less, or even more in-depth articles on the same topic. It is really fun. I've been using it for the longest time possible. Definitely check it out, link in the description below. Alright, moving on, at number 3 we've got Calm. And Calm is essentially an application which helps you sleep at night better and helps you with, you know, sleeping music, meditative music and things like that. So if you have trouble falling asleep, then this is something that you should really check out. I had this problem a couple of while ago, and I started using this application, and even though most of the things are in the pro version, I think the free version does a great job to show you the actual quality of where the application actually is. And yeah, if you like it, you can get the pro subscription. If you don't, you can still use the one for free. So definitely check it out. Moving on, next up we've got something called Octar. And if you're a writer, or if you're a person who, you know, basically writes short stories, or you direct short films, and you basically want to create different types of movies or stories around them, this is an application that's going to push you to do the best possible version of it. So you simply open up, type the name of the story, write the outline, write the story, as well as add characters, and the app, you know, keeps you motivated to find different characters and, you know, create different short stories. And all in all, if you're a writer, I think this is an application that you should at least try once, even if it's not your favorite one. So yeah, check it out. Moving on, we've got something called Castro, and if you're an Android nerd like I am, then this application is going to be absolutely amazing. Well, you know, you find a lot of information about your phone in your settings, right? If you want to know more, then this application has all of it. Everything from your software information to the hardware information, including the type of device, the processor, the battery, the different sensors that your phone uses. It's all in here, and it's all very well organized in this clean, minimal UI. So if you want to learn more about your phone, Castro Astro is the way to go. Definitely check it out. Alright guys, moving on, next up we've got Dashlane, and Dashlane is essentially a very good application that lets you, monitor, your passwords of the different websites that you have, set up a VPN, use different kind of double verification techniques or two-step verification techniques to, basically ensure that your phone remains safe and your passwords that you use so casually these days everywhere on our phone remains safe. Now it is a paid model. You can also use it for free, but if you think you actually need the application, then I think this is something that you should definitely consider. Moving on, next up we've got something called DocuSign, and DocuSign is essentially an application that lets you sign documents electronically for completely free using your Android device. So this is the UI of the application, and as you guys can see, all you need to do is basically import the document that you want to put your signature on, or basically fill anything electronically. Click on the document and then you can just add your signature. You can draw on it, use a stylus, whatever you want. You don't have to print out documents anymore. DocuSign is here to help you. Check it out. Alright guys, moving on, we've got something called Drops, and if one of your New Year resolutions is to learn a new language, then Drops should be the way to go. You can learn a lot of different languages here. You can select the type of languages that you want to learn. Me, for example, I really wanted to learn Japanese this year. I don't know if I'll make it, but this application will show you different words, different games, different selections of the pronunciations of the words, and essentially be your all guide in helping you learn a new language. So check it out if this is something that you want to do. Alright, moving on, we've got something called Dunzo, and Dunzo is essentially your delivery person app, which is in full force currently in India. So essentially Dunzo is an application that lets you assign a delivery person to basically do anything for you. Now these applications work really well if you're in Bangalore, for example, and then you can select your house number and your place number, and then you can essentially use this application to send and deliver packages, get stuff from a nearby store for a very minimal and nominal charge. So as you can see that my current location is not available, but if we select a place that this application is functionable in, for example Bangalore, you can select Bangalore, add your house and flat number, and then select any store that you want to get stuff from. It's really cool, it's really intuitive. Definitely check it out. Alright guys, next up we've got something called FX File Manager, and FX File Manager is essentially probably the cleanest and the most minimal file manager app that I have ever used. So if you want a file managing application, this is something you should definitely have. It lets you access the main storage as well as the system storage of your phone, and you can select all the different folders that you have, copy, extract, archive different files, do whatever you want. This is your file manager, the only file manager you'll probably ever need for your Android, so definitely check it out. Alright, moving on, we've got something called GoodLock, and GoodLock is essentially not an app on the Play Store. It's something that you have to download for your Samsung devices from the Galaxy Store. So essentially it's an application which lets you customize your different lock screen and put different lock screen customizations on your phone. You can download different plugins, I would say, from it, called Navstar, which lets you create your own navigation bar, Clockface, which lets you pick different clock styles, as well as Lockstar, which lets you create different lock screen styles and add different widgets on your lock screen and stuff like that. If you've got a Galaxy device or a Samsung device where the Galaxy Store is accessible and you want to customize your lock screen, this is something you should definitely consider. Moving on, we've got Guitar Tuner, and for all of you aspiring musicians or pro musicians out there, or if you just want to tune your friend's guitar for some XYZ reason, this is the application to go for if you do not have a clip-on tuner on your guitar. So essentially it lets you tune your guitar to the right notes. You can do it in standard tuning. You can change the tuning by clicking on standard and select that, get tuning. It's not just for guitars, it's also for ukuleles and 7-string and 12-string guitars. It's something you should check out if tuning is something that you want to do for free without buying a tuner. And yeah, it works pretty well most of the time, so definitely check it out. Next up, we've got Hashtagify, and for all of you Instagram users out there who always struggle for finding out different hashtags for your phone, I think Hashtagify is something you should definitely consider. Hashtagify is essentially an application which basically uses AI to scan the photo that you're trying to upload to Instagram, and then it identifies certain elements and gives you a list of 20 to 25 hashtags that you can just click and copy from a tab and paste it onto your Instagram caption. So no more hunting for captions. This is an app that will do it for you, and it's accurate 9 out of 10 times. So there's not really much you can go wrong with here. So definitely check it out. Alright guys, next up we've got something called no drugs. And in the world of bachelors and college life, where everyone seems to be interested in doing different sort of drugs or anything, I think information is one of the most important things that you should have, whether you get involved in recreational drugs or not, which by the by you shouldn't. Anyway, this is an application that lets you know about different kind of drugs that are in the market, their weights, their measures, and the kind of uses that you should do or you should not do, the kind of uses that there are, the mg, basically the intensity of the certain drug. And basically it's an application to help you be more aware as a consumer in this very, very different world that we're living in right now. So yeah, check it out if you want to know. You'll get super curious, because there are a lot of really cool designs here and stuff. But keep your curiosities limited just to the designs, and I'm sure we'll be good to go. With that said, let's move on to the next application. Next up, we've got something called Learn by My Wall Street. And essentially, if you want to learn about financial instruments, investing, and you want to start investing from a young age, save some money, or basically create wealth in the long term, a little bit of knowledge never hurts someone, and a completely free app like this is something that you should definitely consider. You've got different sections in here, such as why should you invest, the basics, finding great companies, looking deeper, your investing life, getting started. Basically walks you through the entire process of not knowing anything about investing to making different investments and learning the way different mutual funds and stuff like that work. So check it out if this is something that you're looking for. Next up, we've got My Elevation, and this is one of the most productive applications on this list for the sole reason because no matter where you are in the world, no matter in which mountain you're standing on, this is an application that lets you know the elevation of that certain area. So currently, as you can see, I am in Delhi, and the elevation is 640 feet, which is absolutely nothing. And this is an application that lets you see the different mountain ranges that are around you. You can see the satellite image and also see the elevation of a certain hill station at your ad, just to be curious. It's super productive, it's super cool. Yeah, definitely check it out. Moving on, we've got Nike Run Club, and fitness is an integral part of productivity, as we all know. It helps us stay in shape, stay active, and stay healthy. So this is Nike Run Club, and Nike Run Club is essentially an application that basically is your run buddy or your run coach or your guide. You can add different sneakers that you own from the Nike lineup, which I think is a really cool feature that they have. And you can have guided runs, different 8K runs, 5K runs, 10K runs, no matter what. And you also have long runs and short runs. Essentially, if you want to run and you've got Nike shoes, this is an application to download. But in all seriousness, it's a very good fitness app that I think you should check it out. So yeah, definitely check it out. Moving on, we've got something called Pigments. And if you're a filmmaker and you want to learn different color palettes, or you want to basically learn about analogous colors and complementary colors and complementing colors and different stuff like that, all about colors, I think this is an application that you should definitely consider. You can create different color palettes by adding and removing different colors of the same one, and you can also randomize different palettes to create a certain color palette. And whether you're a developer or a filmmaker, I think this is an incredibly useful application because it lets you know about color theory in a very simple yet minimal way. So definitely check it out. Alright guys, next up we've got Pinterest. And if you don't know about Pinterest, Pinterest is your one-stop shop for all the info that you need in a visual form. So whether it is exercises that you have to do in the gym, or different quotes that you need for your Instagram captions, or something as simple as piano chords that you just want to know, this is an application that has it all. You can take screenshots, save, create collections, do whatever you want. All in all, it's a really great application, so be sure to check it out. Alright, moving on, we've got something called Practo, and Practo is essentially your health guide if you're in India. This is an application that lets you consult with top doctors online to get prescribed medications, some minor infection medications, anything that you need. You can also book appointments and get lab tests and checkups done at home. So anything health related, this is a legit application that lets you do all these things well within reasonable budgets. So definitely check it out, link in the description below. Moving on, we've got something called Presently. And Presently is essentially an application, that lets you write journal entries, a single one-liner or a paragraph every single day that you wake up or go to sleep. So essentially, you have this entire list of things that you were grateful for, for a consecutive period of days. It's really cool. The concept is something very fresh, and it just helps you look back at things that you were proud of and the things that you are proud of today. So all for good vibes. Definitely check this application out. Moving on, we've got something called Preview, and I don't know how many times I've spoken about this, but if you still don't know what Preview is an application that lets you organize the pictures that you want to upload to Instagram in a manner of a feed, and you can preview it. That's where the name comes from, in the application itself, just like you would in your Instagram, but without actually uploading it. Helps you create an aesthetic feed, helps you create different color palettes, and make your Instagram look cool. So definitely check it out. Next up, we've got something called Quotes, and while this application is strictly a customization app, the only reason it's in the productive list is because this is an application that lets you put motivational quotes or any quote that you want to type and put it as a widget on your home screen. It's incredibly motivational in the way that you can look at this quote every single time you unlock your phone, which will basically just push you to do a certain thing or follow your dreams and your goals. It's really good, and I'm all for motivation in 2020, so this is an application you should definitely try. Check it out. Alright guys, next up we've got something called Firefox Send, and if you want to send encrypted files from one end to the other online for free, which also expires after a certain amount of time, this is the way to go. It's essentially like WeTransfer but safer. All you need is a free Firefox Send account, and once you log into that, you can attach any file and send it with a link that will expire after a certain period of time, also which will be encrypted so not everyone can access it and your private stuff remains private. Really cool, super great concept. Check it out. And well guys, last but definitely not the least, in this category we've got something called SmartKit, and basically all the productive and utility tools that you could need using your smartphone, this application has it. So whether it's a notepad, a translator, a dictionary, a file manager, a cutter, a metronome, a QR code scanner, to things like altimeters and compasses, this application has everything in it. So definitely check it out. And well, that wraps up the 25th app in the productive category. If you're still here, kudos to you. You guys are the real OGs. Let's take a 2-minute break, which won't really be 2 minutes once this video is edited. But let's take a break, grab a sip of your coffee, get comfortable before we dive into the next category. Alright, the next category is going to be very interesting. It's going to be photography. And the first app that we're starting with, as always, is called Adobe Photoshop Lightroom. And Lightroom is essentially an application that is, to be honest, one of the best photo editing applications out there. This is what I use to edit pictures on my phone. This is what I use to edit pictures on my computer. Essentially, all of my pictures that are on my Instagram have been edited from Lightroom. It doesn't need a lot of introduction. It's the industry standard for editing pictures. You can use different presets, adjust various things and various options. It's one of those photo editing applications that all of you should use every single day. Moving on, we've got something called HD Camera. And HD Camera is essentially an application which is a manual camera replacement for your phone's camera. So as you guys can see, you've got a plethora of different options such as, the f-stop control, the ISO, which we should really bump down because, yeah, the photo was totally overexposed. You can change the shutter speed, stuff like that. And all in all, it's just an application that I think you guys should download, because if your phone does not have a manual mode, which it should, then this is the application you should go for. You can click manual video from this, which is a very big plus in case you guys want to do something like that. So definitely check it out, link in the description below. Moving on, we've got 1998 camera, and 1998 camera is essentially going to be your vintage camera application. So you can add different sort of filters in this app itself. You've got different film filters from the Fujifilm lineup, KD, black and white, FG Pro 400, and it just gives you this really cool 4:3 format where you can, click pictures and make them look super vintage and cool. You can obviously change the aspect ratio to 1:1 if you want to go for that, and once it's done, you can click on the photo and it's gonna, develop the photo for you. Obviously it's software, but it looks really cool, and it's got this really cool timer below it that essentially gives it that vintage look, so definitely check it out. Alright guys, next up we've got Afterfocus, and in case you guys don't know what Afterfocus is basically an application that lets you, manipulate the foreground and the background focus, basically create a shallow depth of field instead of actually having it on camera. And while it doesn't really work in all cases. In some cases, this app, works exceptionally well. So the first thing that you need to do is obviously select a picture, and once it is done, all you have to do is select the background as well as the foreground. And once it's done, the application is going to blur out the background for you in case it's a result that you're looking for. So once this is selected, you basically select the foreground that you have, which is this dog right here. Once I have selected that, all I have to do is select the background, which is the red part here, as you can see, and also here. And once it's done, you can click on the next button. And even though this is a very sloppy way of doing it, as you guys can see, it works really well. If you do it well, you can zoom in and pan and all of that, and it just looks really good. Definitely check it out, link in the description below. Next up, we've got Google Camera. And what can I say about Google Camera? If you haven't downloaded it for your phone, you should. This lets you use Google's AI features to basically give you night sight and features like that. It's a really good camera application. The photos that it has obviously look incredibly good compared to your normal camera. So if you've already got a phone with a good camera, install Google Camera. Your pictures will come out a lot better. Alright, moving on, we've got Filmora Go. Filmora Go is essentially a video editing application which is surprisingly very simple these days. So all you have to do to create a new video is click on the plus button, select the different videos that you wanna select, and then hit on the add button. Then you can go back, select a couple of other clips, for example this, click on the add button, hit on the next one. It's going to process everything for you, create a timeline where you can add music, transitions, edit tools such as trimming the clips, cropping them, adding subtitles. So any low-key editing things that you need that can be done on a phone, this is the application to go for. So definitely check it out. Alright, moving on, we've got something called Glitch Lab. And Glitch Lab is essentially go-to photo editing application if you want to click out glitchy images and essentially take glitchy pictures or even edit pictures in a glitchy way. So the first thing that you have to do is obviously go to your gallery, select a photo, for example this wallpaper that I have selected, then go and select the color that you want to select on. You can obviously see the different views. You can obviously select different templates for the different glitchy effects once you're satisfied with it, and add more glitchy effects to it. Now keep in mind, don't go full on with it because it will essentially ruin your image after a certain point of time, but in case you want to edit pictures this way, Glitch Lab is the way to go. So definitely check it out. Alright, next up we've got something called InShot, and InShot is essentially your go-to application for finding out different kinds of collages or creating a video cropped into a 1:1 format. I'm sure you guys are aware of that, but the application, I use this application mainly for creating different collages, adding borders, as well as adding certain stickers and stuff like that. So if you ever have to create a collage for a friend or for someone's birthday, this is the easiest and the quickest way to do it. So yeah, definitely check it out. Alright guys, moving on, we've got Lens Distortions, and Lens Distortions is a very cool application in the way that it lets you add lens distortions or light hits and stuff like that to your pictures to make them look very cinematic and very cool. This is an application that you should definitely download, and it's one of those applications that the pro version is also worth it if you want to spend more time in it. All in all, a super cool photo editing app, definitely check it out. Alright guys, next up we've got an application called Quick, and Quick is essentially an application that turns your pictures and your short videos into title sequences if that is something that you're looking for. You've got a lot of different out-of-the-box templates, and you can essentially click on any part of the text to turn it into a very cool cinematic title intro sequence, and it looks good and it performs well, does what it says, and is completely free. So definitely check it out. Moving on, we've got Google Photos. And while Google Photos is an application that is basically, a very normal application, the only reason I've included this in this list is because whenever you open a video in Google Photos, there's a video stabilization option that you can turn on to stabilize your photo using Google's software, which 9 out of 10 times does a pretty good job of, editing it. So that's all that there is for. Other than that, I'm sure you're aware of Google Photos. It's probably the biggest online library. You can back up photos from your Google Drive and your Google account in here, and all in all, it's just a really cool app. It's a staple in my life, so I'm sure you guys will enjoy using it. Next up, we've got Photoshop Express, and Photoshop Express is your Photoshop for your mobile devices. You've got everything from unique looks to blending effects to dehazing stuff to reducing noise, adding textiles. So if you have Lightroom as well as Photoshop on your phone, this is an application that you should definitely try out. And I'm not going to get into what Photoshop exactly is, because it's a very big chapter, and for all of you that want to download this, you already know what Photoshop helps you do. So yeah, definitely have fun using Photoshop Express on your phone. Next up, we've got PixArt. It's one of those photo editing applications that I've been using for the longest time in my life. And honestly, this is just an application that you guys should download because it lets you, do a lot of different things. So adding different grids, creating different tools, as well as, adding different effects, and, creating stuff like double exposures on your phone. I think this is an application that lets you do it very, very well. You can obviously adjust the perspective. It's a very tool-based photo editing application, if that makes any sense, and it does a pretty good job of doing what it does. So definitely check it out. Moving on, we've got Pixlr, and Pixlr is also a photo editing application. It's got a ton of templates where you can, add your pictures, make them look like magazine covers and stuff like that. And it's also got its fair share of filters in it that you can try out and, create collages and stuff like that. It's essentially, I would say, an upgraded version or a more fancier version of what PixArt does, but it's got a really cool UI, and it's a more simplified version of PixArt. So if you want a simple version, want to get into all of this, Pixlr is the way to go. Definitely check it out. Alright, next up we've got Polar, and Polar is again a photo editing application. Polar has been an application that I've been using for a very, very long time. It's got a lot of filters, a lot of light tools that you would only find in the likes of Lightroom PC. You've got face tools, you've got different effects that you can, invert your pictures, reflect them, pixelate them, and also add different overlays to add different effects, such as the ones that are showing, in the tutorial right now. It's honestly a very professional photo editing application, and it does a super high quality photo editing. So if this is something that you're looking for, definitely check it out. It's free, link in the description below. Next up, we've got Prisma. Remember Prisma? Prisma was all the rage back in the day, but the application still lives, and it used to be super buggy when I tried it out earlier, but right now, it looks pretty cool. It is a very good application in the way that it lets you turn your photos into different artworks. The collection has ever so increased from the time that it was the rage, and honestly, I couldn't be disappointed much with this application because there are a lot of different filters, and if you want to make your pictures look like a sketch, I think this is the way to go for. So definitely check it out, link in the description below. Moving on, we've got Adobe Premiere Rush, and this is again Premiere Pro on your phone. It is a video editing application right from the guys at Adobe, who could do it better. And while it does provide you with some of the basic tools, such as selecting the aspect ratio, adding transitions, color, speed, audio, and all of that stuff, it still needs to be polished. But all in all, this is what you get right now for editing videos on your phone from the guys over at Adobe. So yeah, definitely check it out. It will definitely do the job in case you're looking for some light video editing, but don't go into it expecting that you'll find Premiere on your phone. It's not that good, but it's not that bad either. So if this is something you're looking for, definitely check it out. Alright, next up we've got Snapseed. Now, how do I explain Snapseed to you? Snapseed has again been one of those photo editing applications that is a staple in every photographer's phone or every mobile photographer enthusiast's phone. It's got a lot of different styles, a plethora of different tools that I cannot even begin to explain. As you guys can see, there are a lot of tools in this application. You can do everything from tonal contrast to selective edits to brush to healing to HDR skips, and it's also got its fair share of filters. And once again, it's Google's application, so you can be assured of the quality of the kind of photo edits that you'll get from it. Super fun, super cool, definitely check it out. Alright, next up we've got something called Vimage. Vimage is essentially photos plus videos. So first you select the perfect photo, then you can add 130 plus effects, as you can see, from the sun's flare to a bird flying to smoky effects. So it's essentially trying to create cinematographs out of pictures, and it looks really, really cool. All you have to do is select a photo, and then you can apply these effects, and you'll be ready to go for a very cool edit. Definitely check it out. Alright, next up we've got ViscoCam, VSCO. Who does not like Visco? Visco is one of those applications that is in every Instagram editor's arsenal. It's got its own share of very moody filters, as you can see, that is being shown in the home screen right now. These filters have a certain moody, desaturated look to them, and Visco has been used for a very long time, especially among Instagram influencers and photographers. It's a very good application. If you haven't tried it out, it's totally free. It's got a paid subscription, but the free one is more than enough for all our needs. Go ahead, download it, check it out, let me know what you guys think of it. Yeah, link in the description below. Alright, next up we've got FLTR. FLTR is essentially a really cool application that I came across recently. It's essentially free Lightroom presets for Lightroom Mobile. So it's got a collection of different preset packs, which are essentially pictures. And once you select on, applying a preset, it'll basically import the photo in your Lightroom account. And from there you can, copy the settings and paste it to your photos, which will basically act as a preset. It looks really cool, and honestly, I couldn't really, hate this application because nothing like this really is present on the Play Store right now. So kudos to the developer. The app can be developed a bit more, but all in all, it's a super solid app if you're looking for Instagram presets on your phone. So definitely check it out. Alright guys, next up we've got something called Footage Camera. And Footage Camera is once again a professional photo as well as video mode, which lets you access stuff like your shutter speed, your ISO, the focusing mode, add different grid styles. And the best part about this again is the fact that you can control these things in video mode as well, which most phones, even my Galaxy S10, does not allow me to do in my native camera application. You can also do stuff like time lapses and slow motions, and I think if you want to use Pro Controls on your phone, this is a great free app to help you do that without any hiccups, so definitely check it out. Alright, next up we've got something called Touch Retouch, and we'll switch to my phone for this because I've already purchased it on the Play Store over here. Touch Retouch is essentially an application that lets you, remove unwanted objects and stuff from your photos. It's super simple. All you have to do is draw a line over the object that you want to remove in, let's say, a landscape shot or a line or a wire, whatever it is. And once it is done, just click on the OK button and the application magically masks that, removes it from the entire frame and replaces it with a part of the background, so it feels like nothing was ever really removed. It's super cool, and it lets you, polish images that have somehow been disrupted by some element in the frame. So you should definitely check this one out, link in the description below. Alright, let's move back to the Redmi K20 Pro and cover the rest of the applications in the photography list. Next up we've got Nebi, which is a film filter application, which, much like 1996 grainy camera, lets you add different sorts of film filters on your application. So everything from different types of film grains as well as film burns, real burns, to different types of scratches and 90s looks that you want to add to your certain pictures, even bokeh if you want to do that. This app lets you add all of this into your phone's home screen without any hiccups or problems. So this is something that you should definitely download in case you're looking for that retro look. So yeah, check it out, link in the description below. And well guys, last but definitely not the least, we've got 500 pixels. 500 pixels is essentially a very big community of different photography pages and photography images. You've got everything from different categories of photos that you should select before you get started with it, and you can also sign up to their newsletter or discover new photos. So you can find out different photos in the categories that you selected, and you can also upload photos and create your own account and start a community in case that's something you want to do. All in all, it's just a super polished photo community application filled with new photographers and aspiring photographers like you and me. So this is something you should definitely consider in case you're trying to break through into this industry and share your pictures with the rest of the world, because why not? And with that said, that wraps up the photography part of today's top 100 apps video. This ends the second part of it. We'll be starting the third part shortly. Let's take a quick break. Make sure you guys are hydrated, because now we are jumping into the customization section, which is one of the most important aspects in AR videos. So yeah, without any further ado, let's take a break and then we'll jump right into that. Yo guys, welcome back. It's a little cold here in Delhi, especially during the night time, so I had to put on a jacket. I was also feeling pretty hungry, so I ordered some McDonald's. Hope you guys had a good break too. But right now, it's the moment of the hour, because as I said, we are heading to the customization section, which is, to be honest, my personal favorite in this entire video. And if you're a customization head like me, well, congrats to you. Let's get started right away. The first app that I'm talking about is obviously the TSF Shell Launcher. Now, the TSF Shell Launcher used to be this really cool paid 3D launcher that I used to use back when I was 12 years old or 13 years old. It has these really over-the-top, overkill transitions, and honestly it just looks really good. I think the application has a very good UI. The transitions are super over the top and very minimal and stuff like that. Even if you open the app drawer, you can see the way the applications display each other in this sort of revolving way. You can add different widgets of clouds and stuff, and all of them just look really, really good. All in all, if you want something to show off your Android's customization abilities, I think TSF Shell Launcher is the way to go. It's one of the greatest ones out there, and the good thing is, used to be a paid application. It's been free for a very long time now. Definitely check it out, link in the description below. Alright, moving on, we've obviously got a wallpaper application. Right now we're talking about AMOLED walls, which is one of my personal favorites when it comes to finding out AMOLED wallpapers. Now the application has a lot of categories, from abstract, animal, faith, flower, heroes, liquid, material, and all of that stuff. Just in case your phone has an AMOLED display, you can use this to make full use of that, save some battery, and have some super high resolution wallpapers on your home screen. So definitely check it out. Alright, moving on, we've got an icon pack called Abstract Icon Pack. An Abstract Icon Pack is honestly a very minimal icon pack that I've recently come across. I did feature it once in a while back in one of my icon pack videos, but I recently re-downloaded it, and I was pleasantly surprised because the icons have been updated to different colors, as you can see: red, orange, yellow, blue, purple, and stuff like that. And all of them have this really minimal line-based theme, which looks really good with certain setups. So in case you're trying to create a very cool minimal setup, I think this is a free icon pack that you should definitely consider, so be sure to check it out. Moving on, we've got a live wallpaper called Beta Fish, and this is again a live wallpaper that I have featured earlier in one of my videos. All in all, it's just this super high resolution fish, a blue fish, which is following the home screen, and you can also tilt your phone to use the gyroscope settings and basically make your phone follow the direction in which the fish is floating in or swimming in. It's honestly super cool, and the application looks insane. You really have to download it to see how good it looks. I can't really explain it that well on camera, but yeah, definitely check it out. It's one of the good ones out there, and also it's free. Alright, next up we've got a custom live wallpaper preset or a pack. Now this is called Calm Wave, and again, this is something that I have featured before, and what it basically allows you to do is create this insanely cool looking home screen setup where the entire home screen is essentially a wallpaper, and you've got this really cool effect where a water wave is just flowing, and you can switch between the light and the dark modes instantaneously, and honestly it just looks really, really good. And if you're familiar with custom live wallpaper, you know that this is a fully functioning home screen. It's just not a live wallpaper, but we'll get to that in a while. Next up, we've got another icon pack called Candy Cons. If you're looking for material design icons with a touch of creativity to them, in a rounded, very colorful way to have a very vibrant home screen, I think this is the icon pack that you should go for. It's been out there for a really long time, and once again, it's free, so definitely check it out. Candy Cons icon pack. Next up, we've got an application called Creative Wallpapers and Ringtones, and essentially this is a one-stop shop for all your home screen needs. You can find wallpapers, contents, editors, as well as different types of profiles. You can also find out different types of exclusive wallpapers which have these really minimal look to them. And all in all, it's just one of those applications that you can upload your own stuff to as well, and you can also find different wallpapers and sound effects from here, as well as complete home screens, finding out the applications that were used to create these certain home screens. It's really cool, it's really fun, definitely check it out. Alright, next up we've got CRISPR wallpapers, and CRISPR is essentially a collection of different wallpapers which are actually pictures clicked by actual photographers from around the world. So it's sort of like Unsplash, it's sort of a community, but you've also got several collections such as Watercolor, Iranians, Festive with Blank Space, and essentially a very curated sort of wallpaper. It's also got a AMOLED side to it, so you've got visual effects and basically stuff that's created in Photoshop and Illustrator, different logos and different gradient wallpapers. If you don't want to set a photo as your wallpaper, you've got that too. So it's best in both worlds, and again, it's free, so definitely check it out. Moving on, we've got another icon pack called Delta, and Delta icon pack has been one of those icon packs that I've been using for a long time. Again, if you want material design, but this time not a very colorful but a slightly desaturated look, which essentially makes your home screen look very moody and thematic, and you can add a matching wallpaper which refers to the browns and the yellows, and you can also add a custom widget which also looks very minimal. I think Delta is the way to go. This was one of those icon packs that I had used for the longest time on my home screen, and I still find myself eventually switching back to this, which is why I never uninstall it. It's really cool, it's really great, it's totally free, definitely check it out. Alright, next up we've got DRWRCON, and while this is a mouthful and this application has aged a while for now, This is the icon which basically helps you customize the home screen or the icon for your app drawer. And essentially, you can click on the app drawer and select it like an icon pack. It's not an icon pack, it just has icons to replace the app drawer icon that you have. And luckily enough, the developer of this application knows us, knows the channel, and apart from all the other YouTuber logos that you have there, you've also got your classy AR logo in there. So if you're a true fan, send a screenshot to me while you set this as your app drawer icon, and I'll shout you guys out on Instagram. But even if you don't check this application out, I think it's really cool. The concept is really great, and the developer should get a lot of support for this. Alright, moving on, we've got Energy Ring. And do you see this ring on top of my phone's screen? Yeah, that ring is essentially a circle around the punch hole display notch that I have on my S10. And this is an exclusive application for all of you S10 users. Essentially what it allows you to do is have a battery indicator, and you can obviously calculate the origin of the ring. So where does it start from? The thickness of the ring, how thick is it going to be, or how thin is it going to be? You can also set it as a transparent ring or a black background in it, change the direction, and while you can change the color configuration, you might have to buy the pro version for it, but all in all it just adds a little bit of extra customization punch to my phone. And if you also have an S10, be sure to download this. It's totally free, it'll be worth it, trust me. Alright, moving on, we've got a KWGT pack called Feast for KWGT. And again, Feast is a KWGT pack, meaning you will need Custom Widget Pro, which I'll get to in a little while. It's also one of the apps in this list. But once you have downloaded Custom Widget Pro on your phone, you can use these custom packs to set as widgets on your home screen. And this one is by Raj Arya. It has a lot of different widgets which transfer between some artistic, some augmented stuff, as well as some minimal and very, very clean stuff. So it has a lot of music widgets, a lot of time widgets, and you can set anything you like on your home screen for totally free. So yeah, definitely check it out. Alright, moving on, we've got the current icon pack on my home screen right now, which is called Kamijara. Now again, Kamijara was an icon pack that I recently came across, and this has I can't really explain these icons. They're slightly desaturated, and they slightly tend towards the blue tones of the color scale and not really the warm ones. And they've got this minimal / material design to them. It's really different. It's not something that you get to see every day when you're talking about icon packs especially. And once again, it's free, has more than 1200 icons if I'm not mistaken. So if you're rocking a new icon pack, this would be the perfect choice to go with. So definitely check it out. Alright, moving on, we've got KLWP, which is nothing but custom live wallpaper. Now keep in mind, both KWGT and KLWP are free applications, but to use outside presets and packs made by other people, you do need the pro key. So it's a freemium app. There's a free as well as a premium side to it. To use any of the custom widget packs or the KLWP packs that I mentioned in this video, you will need the pro key. So essentially, custom live wallpaper, in case you guys don't know, is an application that you need to set as your live wallpaper, and you get certain home screens which you can set as your wallpaper. So for example, the one that I have currently set on the home screen, as you can see, this one that I demonstrated earlier, this is a fully functional home screen while being just a wallpaper. So you've got your clock, you've got your battery percentage, you can turn the dark mode, you can configure these applications that are here, and you can also open the home screen by clicking on the app drawer icon. Turns your wallpaper into a home screen itself, so you don't need a launcher, you don't need icon packs, you don't need custom widgets, you don't need anything, you just need this application. If this is the way you want to go about it, definitely check out KLWP, link in the description below. And as I was talking about, next up we've got KWGT, which is essentially the widget counterpart of the application that I explained earlier. So same stuff, you can download the app for free, but you will need the pro key to use any of the widgets which are made by other people on the Play Store, including the ones that I mentioned in this video. So you can add different widgets. This is like an upgraded version of Super Widget, and you can, as you can see, you have different packs, and you can select the packs that you want to download, and most of the packs are free on the Play Store, and you can select any widget that you want to set on your home screen and then just click on it and set it. Also, you can customize a little bit of them, the colors, every single aspect of it, but in case you don't want to get into it that much, you can just set cool widgets for your home screen. So if that's something you want to do, definitely check it out. Alright, moving on, we have a custom widget pack. This is Miniism for KWGT, and if you like minimal designs on your home screen, this is going to be a custom widget pack that you'll absolutely love. It's got a lot of collections of different widgets that look and perform really, really well. The current one is also from this pack on my home screen right now, which you can't see because I've set this as a wallpaper. This one that I'm talking about. It's really, really good, and I just love downloading new custom packs and testing them out for myself. So if you're someone like me, definitely be sure to check out Miniism for KWGT. Alright guys, next up we've got an icon pack called Minimalist Icon Pack, and if you're looking for different types of icons that look really minimal, and you know this application in itself borrows its design from Google's Material UI, and it's got a lot of boxy shaped as well as round shaped icons with a colorful look to them, and essentially it looks super good with any minimal home screen setup that you add to. So definitely check it out, Minimalist Icon Pack. It's one of my most used icon packs of all time. Next up we've got Minima Icon Pack, and this is a lot of minimalism in one video. But Minima Icon Pack is essentially an icon pack that has a lot of dark backgrounds to it. So if you want black icons with neon lines just outlining the name of the icon or the application that you're going to use, Minima Icon Pack is going to be the one that you should download. It's free, and I think you should use this whenever you're having a dark look on your home screen. So you've got a AMOLED wallpaper, a dark widget, and you want something to complement that, then something like Minima would look really cool, so definitely check it out. Alright, next up we've got a live wallpaper called Mix Live Wallpaper, which is the one that I've currently set on my home screen, as you guys can see. It's this endless live wallpaper that reacts to your touch and spurs around fluid neon paint on your home screen. If you've seen an application called Fluid Simulation, this is particularly similar to that one, except for the fact that it's actually a live wallpaper. You can use the gyroscope sensor as well as the touch to consider where the particles will move. All in all, it gives it that neonish vibe look, and I absolutely love it, and looks particularly good with a home screen like the one that I've set on my phone right now. So definitely check it out, link in the description below. Alright, next up we've got Nova Launcher, and what can I say about Nova Launcher? It's one of my most used launchers since eternity, since I started using phones. And obviously I'm using Nova Launcher Prime, which is the premium version of it, which does cost money but gives you a lot of different features that you should definitely buy. The prices for it are constantly on sale on the Google Play Store. You can get it for as cheap as 10 rupees or 20 rupees, so you should definitely download it if you get the chance. And in case you guys don't know about Nova Launcher is where Android customization starts. It's one of the most stable launchers that has ever released for Android phones out there, and the sheer amount of options that you get make you want to never switch to any other launcher, at least for me. Definitely check it out, I'm sure you guys will like it. And just for disclosure, all the home screen setups that I create on this channel are from Nova Launcher, so that should answer a few other questions that you guys might have. Alright, next up we've got Pexels, and Pexels is essentially a community of different free pictures created by different independent artists out there. You can use this as a wallpaper application and also as a photography community. In case you want to upload your own pictures, you can do that by signing up. And all in all, this just has a lot of really cool moody photos that actual people from around the world have clicked. You can get the artist information, the size of the photo, and the camera settings as well as the camera and lens they use to capture it. So you can shout at the people out, give independent people a shout out, as well as use their pictures as wallpapers, because why the hell not, these are some really, really good pictures. Yeah, in case you want to do that, Pexels is the way to go. Definitely check it out. Alright, next up we've got another icon pack called Simplit Icon Pack, and in case you want something super neon as well as something super minimal that gives off that neonish cyberpunk 2077 vibe, then I think Simplit is the way to go. This is a paid icon pack, but I think it's worth every penny that you pay for it, because it has, first of all, a huge collection of icons, and second of all, I have never seen anything like it. Also comes with 36 different types of wallpapers that the developer thinks would look good with this application. But honestly, the icon pack is so good, it would look good with any wallpaper that you have. So if you get a chance to try it, definitely check it out, link in the description below. Alright, next up we've got one of my most favorite wallpaper applications called Waldrobe. Now Waldrobe is essentially a wallpaper application which borrows its wallpapers from the gallery of Unsplash, which is one of the biggest photography communities online. And you can find different wallpapers here, sprawling different categories such as abstract, architecture, aviation, animals, art, black, all of that stuff. And it's a mixture of, art pieces, things that have been created online, as well as photographers and photography that has been done by actual people around the world. So it's like CRISPR, but this is a more stable and a better application, I would say, in my opinion, even though both of them are great in their own ways. I find most of my wallpapers from this application whenever I'm trying to make a new video here on this channel. So definitely check it out, link in the description below. Next up, we've got Wonderwall, and if you like nature wallpapers or mountain wallpapers, anything added to nature that you want to set on your home screen, whether it's mountain ranges, lakes, oceans, waterfalls, anything of that sort, I think Wonderwall is the way to go. The application prides itself as being one of the best nature wallpaper apps out there, and honestly I couldn't agree more. It has a lot of high resolution photos, and all of them look absolutely stunning in their own way. So if nature wallpapers are the way to go, Wonderwall is the way to go. Definitely check it out. And well guys, last but definitely not the least, we've got another icon pack called SWOT Icon Pack, which has over 5,500 icons. Now this is an icon pack that is very different from the ones I've ever shown. This has no color in it, there is no material design, there is just a white background on which the black outline of the wallpaper is there. So if you want to go super AMOLED, and if you want to give your home screen a very punchy look, I think this is the icon pack that you should go for. As I said, it has more than 5,000 icons, so you don't have to worry about your apps not fitting in, and all in all, it's just a really good icon pack. And once again, it's free, so definitely check it out. And well guys, that wraps up the customization section of things. If you're still watching this video, give yourself a high five. I love all of you that are still here. This means a lot to me. Again, let's take a break. Let's take a quick 2-minute breather, which is going to be like 2 seconds when I actually edit this video. But next time when we meet, we'll be back with 25 amazing games, which is also going to conclude the 100 apps video. So yeah, let's switch to that. Alright guys, now we're starting with the games. We've got 25 different games lined up for you guys, and I think you guys will like it. So without any further ado, let's get started. The first one is called 2048. Now if you haven't played 2048, you definitely should. It's a really cool puzzle game where essentially you've got a grid and you add 2 numbers and then you add 2 numbers, and essentially the goal is to make more than 2048 numbers. So essentially you add 4 plus 4, then it becomes 8, and then 16, 32. This way you add stuff like 256 plus 256 without running out of the blocks, of course. And once you hit 1024, you add 1024 again to it, and then you get 2048, and that's essentially how you win in the game. I think it's really cool. You can only add 2 alike numbers, and it stimulates your brain, and essentially becomes a really good time pass for stuff that you want to do when you play this game. It's a really cool game. Definitely check it out. Link in the description below. Next up, we've got Asphalt 9. Now Asphalt 9 is one of the most high-end racing games on the market. As you can see, it's got a really good UI. You've got a plethora of different cars that you can select, different races that you can be a part of, and essentially this is just one of those racing games that you should play as long as you have an Android phone that is capable of playing this, because it is pretty graphically intensive and can take some time to load and work smoothly if you have an older generation phone. But all in all, the reflections, the graphical quality, the closest that you can get to experiencing something very close to NFS like on your phone is the Asphalt series by Gameloft. So definitely check it out. I'm sure you guys will have an absolute ball playing this. Alright, let's move on to the next one. Next up, we've got Asphalt Extreme, and Asphalt Extreme is like Asphalt 9. The only difference is this is a more rally based game, so you basically have a lot of off-roading in it. You can play different races that have off-roading in them, and if that is the kind of races that you like playing, then I think this is a game that you will absolutely love. Again, it's got a plethora of different cars that you can select, and you can also start the race with different boosts and booms, and the game also has a very good collection of different maps that you should definitely download. So yeah, check it out, link in the description below. Alright guys, next up we've got something called Badminton League, and Badminton League is essentially a badminton game which is fairly simple, and the graphics are super comical and just looks like stick figurines to me, but honestly I love the art design of the game. The game looks and functions really well. You get 5 points for one set, and you win one set for essentially victory. That's how you play the game, and all in all, I think it's a really fun game for when you want to just pass your time. It looks really good, and is a game that you should definitely download. So yeah, check it out. All right, moving on, we've got a game called Cut the Rope 2, and you haven't played Cut the Rope back in the day, then chances are you should play this game at least. Now essentially this is again a puzzle based game with a very cute protagonist. As you can see, the entire point of the game is to progress through levels and essentially make this green blob eat the candy that you can see right now. So you've got to do tons of stuff to make sure that this person eats the candy, and basically you get the ball, and the entire point of the game is to make sure that you also get all the 3 stars while eating the candy. I know it sounds ridiculous, the game is ridiculous, but it's a very well made game, so definitely check it out. Next up, we've got another cool puzzle game called Duel, and essentially in this game you control a circle of which contains 2 balls that keeps revolving, and essentially all you have to do is touch to rotate and basically pass through the different obstacles that come on your home screen while you play this game. It's super fun, and I think it deserves recognition for the exceptionally well done sound design in this game. The dialogues, the music, if you play this, you'll get to know that it's really fun and really good to see. And honestly, it's just one of those games that again you should definitely try if you haven't. So yeah, check it out, link in the description below. Alright, moving on, we've got Dumb Ways to Die 2, and again, if you have played Dumb Ways to Die 1, this game will hit you right home. The entire point of this game is to basically play levels but not die while playing them, while the game is called Dumb Ways to Die. It's a really fun game. You have to make your home trace the path. So let's just trace the path like this. Yeah. Okay, so that's how you die. So essentially the goal of the game is for you to die. So you can stretch the levers. Okay, let's see if we can make it. Yeah, we did it. We survived. Check this game out. It's really fun. It's got a wonderful graphical ability that looks really good. So yeah, check it out. Next up, we've got Shadowgun Legends, and Shadowgun Legends is again one of those first-person games that you should have played back in the day when it was just called Shadowgun, and it was for the NVIDIA Tegra 3 processors. This is a very fun, FPS game, which is sort of co-op, sort of multiplayer, and it also has some single-player FPS elements in it. If you want to play, first-person shooter games on your Android phone, this is one of the games that you should definitely consider downloading, especially considering the fact that it's completely free. So yeah, check it out, link in the description below. Next up, we've got something called Leo's Fortune, and I don't know if you have played this or not, but Leo's Fortune continues to be one of the most beautiful platformers, if not the most beautiful platformer out there. This is a game that has a lot of different elements into it. The graphics are absolutely stunning. The game looks very beautiful. You control this green blob, which is very textured and looks really good. The design on it has been done very well, and essentially it's a platformer, so you play through the different levels, and once you play through the different levels, you basically progress. And all in all, as you can see, as I'm talking about the graphics, it just looks absolutely premium, and the art design, the voiceover, the sound design, everything in this game is very good. You will have a lot of fun if you like playing platformer games. Definitely check it out, link in the description below. Alright guys, next up we've got a game called Mars, and if you haven't played this game, it is a very cool game. Essentially all you have to do is select an explorer, and the entire goal of the game is to have limited fuel as well as hover on different places. And the entire point of the game is to launch your explorer into the air, collect different points, and drop very slowly and softly into the landing point that you can see. You even put a little bit of extra force, and then you won't be able to land correctly, and you'll just explode. It becomes really frustrating and irritating at times, but honestly it looks like a great game. So yeah, definitely check it out, link will be in the description below. Alright, moving on, we've got Mekorama, and if you have played Monument Valley before, this is one of the games that you'll absolutely love. This is a game that is very similar to Monument Valley, and once you get into it, the app design is also very similar, and essentially all you have to do in this game is to solve different puzzles using this very goofy Wall-E type robot that you have to control and get to the exit point. And the puzzles obviously get more interesting, and the game gets more interesting. I love the graphics, I love the way it looks. Definitely check it out, link in the description below. Next up, we've got Need for Speed No Limits. Who does not like NFS games, especially when they're for your Android or your iOS devices? This is NFS No Limits. If you haven't played it, you should. It's one of the only good Need for Speed games out there for mobile devices. It's got its own look compared to the Asphalt series, and it looks and performs absolutely very well. Again, this is a pretty high-end game, so you will need a decent enough phone to run it in. But if you can, it's a treat to play and watch. So definitely check it out. Link in the description below. Alright guys, moving on, we've got Alto's Odyssey 2, and if you have played again the original one, you know what this is about. This is again a platformer game in which you basically control a ski. Game looks absolutely amazing. Again, it has an incredible soundtrack. The graphics are really good, and all in all, it's just one of those games that you should have played if you haven't already. The original one was pretty good. That's how I got addicted to it, and the new one came a couple of years back, if I'm not wrong, or at least a year back. Then again, it remains to be one of the very good looking games on the Play Store. And let's just look at some of the gameplay so you guys will understand how it looks. So you basically tap to start and you fall from the sky, and all you have to do is basically jump and move around. Tap to jump over rocks, and then you can perform backflips and front flips and all of that good stuff, and you have to collect the coins to exchange them for different items, obviously. And the game gets crazier. As you can see, tap and hold to perform a backflip. The background is totally dynamic, so it keeps changing from day to night and stuff like that. And doing different tricks also gives you a boost, and you can also jump on different balloon ropes to grind those ropes and essentially perform these really cool tricks. All in all, it's just one of those games that looks really good and functions really good, and everything just falls right into place. Definitely check it out. Link in the description below. Alright, next up we've got Game 72, and essentially this is your Nintendo DS system. It has some of the best games that you have ever played from back in the day. So let's just let's see what Spartan is, and then let's check out how Spartan looks like. Or press the start button. Okay, let's just press the start button. 1942, one player. This has some of the oldest games on that you have ever played. Basically, it is a collection of 72 different types of games that has a lot of cool games that you used to play earlier when we were very small, when we were kids. Used to play it on our VCR systems and our televisions. All in all, it has a lot of collection, everything from Contra to Super Mario to stuff like as well as different other games. So if you want to get nostalgic about games, this is something you should definitely consider. Next up, we've got Into the Dead 2. This is a pretty fresh concept for anyone who doesn't know about it. Into the Dead 2 is a game which brings first-person elements into an endless runner for mobile devices. So essentially, you've got a first-person view, and you have to survive as long as you can. So it's an endless runner. You can also choose a companion. For example, you can choose this to level 2 plus recommended, and just hit on run. And the game looks very good. The graphics are especially very well designed. The zombie, the sound design, everything is great, and the gameplay is very dynamic and very fluid. So if this is something that you're looking for, you can obviously go left and right by tilting, and then you can fire at zombies, change your guns, I think, by clicking on this. And yeah, it is really fun. The game looks absolutely stunning. So definitely check it out. The link will be in the description below. Alright, moving on, we've got one of my personal favorites, Piano Tiles 2. Now, Piano Tiles 2 has always been, one of those games that has especially connected with musicians. If you are into playing piano or any other sort of musical instrument, me personally, I love playing stuff like Canon and River Flows in You in this application. Also helps you develop the speed of your fingers if you look at it from a productive point of view. But all in all, it's a piano simulator. You tap on the black and the white keys to play a certain musical melody, and every time you get a high score, you basically have to increase that high score by doing and playing the same melody at a very high speed. You should definitely check it out. It is one of the best apps out there if you want to play piano on your Android or iOS phones. So yeah, check it out. Link in the description below. Next up, we've got PUBG Mobile, and I'm not gonna show you gameplay of this game purely because everybody knows about this. In case you don't, PUBG is one of the biggest games right now. It's a battle royale game, meaning there is a map where you will be dropped with other players who are also playing the game with you in a multiplayer fashion, and essentially the squad or the duo or even a solo, the person that kills everyone else and is the last man standing in the map wins. And a lot of games like this have come out recently, but no one has really been able to take off the charm from PUBG, especially on a good phone like the OnePlus 7 Pro or the Redmi K20 or even the S10 for that matter. It performs really, really well. And if you haven't played it, go give it a shot. I'm sure you won't regret it. Either you'll love it or you'll hate it. That's all that's gonna happen. Check it out, link in the description below. Next up, we've got Real Racing 3. And if you want a proper racing simulator, which will not be like NFS or any other game, but if you want a game where you race on a track and you follow the rules and race with different supercars across different racetracks across the world, I think this is one of the best games to do that. Again, this has been a game that is going on for a long time. However, like the graphics have not aged at all. It just still looks as good as it did 5 or 6 years ago. And the best part is it's from EA and the game is still free on the Google Play Store. So there's nothing really to say about this. It's one of the greatest games, in the Play Store. So if you want to play something like Real Racing 3, definitely check it out. It's free. Link is in the description below. Alright, moving on, we've got Shadow Fight. And if you haven't played Shadow Fight earlier, this is a very fresh concept. It's a arcade game, essentially meaning that you fight with other characters, and the entire gameplay loop is the fact that you have to fight with characters. And if this is the type of game that you like, more so like Shadow Fight or like Tekken and stuff like that, then I'm sure this is also going to be a game that you will definitely enjoy, simply because of the fact that it has a lot of cool weapons, a lot of different techniques, and this shadow ninja thing added to it, where you basically can become a shadow and perform special attacks with magic and stuff. The game looks really good. The trailer is one of the coolest trailers I've ever seen for a video game, let alone a phone video game. And all in all, I think you guys will really enjoy it if you give it a shot. Definitely check it out, link in the description below. Alright, next up we've got something called Trials Frontier. And Trials Frontier is a arcade platformer game where essentially you have to control a dirt bike. And if you've played motocross when you were small, I think this is a game that you'll really like. You basically have to control the physics in the game. And all in all, I really miss playing games like this because they never really make ones that look like this anymore. Either way, this is a really fun game, and the entire goal of the game, as you guys can see, is to ride this bike. And you can ride this bike and adjust your weight to perform certain tricks, as you can see, and the entire goal is to survive and complete the levels for as long as possible. It's a very good game. Definitely check it out, link in the description below. Alright, next up we've got Gangster 4. And if you're tired of playing GTA San Andreas on your phone and you want another Gangster Vegas game from the guys over at Gameloft, this is a really cool game that you can definitely try. It's obviously an open world game where you have a sprawling world, Vegas here, for instance, and all you have to do is continue the gameplay that you're doing. So there are missions, there are people that you interact with, and I used to play this game back in the day, again, like most of the games in this list, but it looks really good even right now, and I did not really hope that it would perform this well. You can obviously steal cars and stuff like that, and you can do a lot of things in this game. It's super fun, it's super intuitive for an open world game on Android phones. Definitely check it out, link in the description below. Alright, next up we've got a game called One More Line, and if you have played One More Line before, then you know the entire point of this game again is to go for as long as possible. And again, this is just one of those games that changes the entire gameplay loop every single time you tap on it. You basically change your direction by tapping on the screen, and then the thing that you're controlling starts revolving, and then you release it in a direction that you want to go. It's really cool, it's really fun. Definitely check it out. Alright guys, next up we've got Dr. Driving, which is a driving simulator if you already haven't played it before. Now I am aware that there's a new version out there, but the thing with the new version is that it's not as polished and it doesn't give me that original Dr. Driving feel. The soundtrack in this game, if you guys have played it before, and the different elements in this game look absolutely great. This is one of the best games when it comes to driving simulators on the Play Store, and the entire point of the game is to earn as much money as you can and basically drive different vehicles. It could be a car, it could be a truck, no matter what you want. And all in all, it's just a really fun game to play around with. It is one of those games which is a classic when it comes to mobile games. So definitely check it out if you haven't before, Dr. Driving. And yeah, with that said, let's move on to the next one. All right, next up, we've got This War of Mine. And This War of Mine is essentially a game which basically takes you through a period of war. It's a strategy based game where you have to, make different moral decisions, ensure survival of you as well as your teammates and the people that you're living with. It's going to be a game that's going to hit you in a tough spot. It's going to be a game that's going to affect you emotionally. I played this back in the day in the computer before it even came out for mobile devices. And it's honestly, genuinely one of the best Android games that I have ever played. If you haven't played it before, you should. Every time you try it, you get different characters that all have their own life stories and things that they've been through before this period of war hit them. And this scavenger hunt vibe and this entire survival post-apocalyptic vibe that the game has is really, really fun and super emotional. Definitely check it out, link in the description below. Alright guys, next up we've got 3 games all from the PPSSPP lineup. So when I talk about PPSSPP, it's essentially the PSP emulator that you have for Android phones out there. Now if you haven't downloaded it, you need to first download this application, and then you can download these 3 ISO files from the links in the description below or from any PSP ISO website. The first game that I'm going to be talking about is Assassin's Creed Bloodlines. Now this was again a game that was launched for the PlayStation Portable, and it's not an Android game, but the fact that you can play it on any normal Android game right now is absolutely stunning. So let's just skip through everything and let's see what we get here. Assassin's Creed Bloodlines, if you're not aware, is an Assassin's Creed game which was launched for the PlayStation Portable. It has a lot of the best Assassin's Creed elements that made this game what it is. And essentially it's like Prince of Persia. If you've played it, right now it's a lot more than Prince of Persia, but that's the easiest way to explain it to someone who hasn't played Assassin's Creed before. You basically take the shoes of Altair ibn al-Ahad in this one at least, and the first game, and it takes you through the life of this cult known as the Assassins and their fight against the Templars, who are essentially the governors and who want to destroy the world. It's a super cool third-person game which has become one of the most successful franchises nowadays, but if you haven't played this, definitely give it a shot. You can find it in PPSSPP. It is super cool. Alright, the next game that we're talking about is Dragon Ball Z Shin Bodugai Another Road. Now this is again another game that was launched for the PlayStation Portable back in the day. I have the actual game that I used to play on the PSP, and this is again a Dragon Ball Z game which is an arcade game, more like Tekken and Shadow Fight. If you're familiar with the Dragon Ball Z universe, which I'm sure you are, you have a lot of cool shots in this, and you can basically punch and kick and do a lot of different things in this game. It's one of the best Dragon Ball Z games that I've ever played. You've got all the different Super Saiyan modes and stuff like that. So if you like something like this, you've also got a campaign. It's not that good, but you don't play a Dragon Ball Z game for the campaign. If you want to check this out, definitely check it out. Link in the description below. It's super cool. Alright guys, last but definitely not the least, we've got God of War Ghost of Sparta. Now I don't know about you, I recently finished the God of War game which came out for the PS4. I know I'm very late, but I totally understand why the game received the Game of the Year award for last year. And honestly, this is the prequel to that. If you have played Ghost of Sparta before, it was again released by Santa Monica Studio for the PSP stuff, and honestly it's just one of the best God of War games out there in its essence. So the God of War, the Ghost of Sparta, the entire lore behind it. It's a very good game that you should definitely download. It's this hack and slash game where you basically punch and kill a lot of bad guys and follow through a story which has Norse mythology in it. It's got Greek mythology in it. It's really fun. Again, very reminiscent to Assassin's Creed and Prince of Persia. If you've played it, definitely check it out. Link in the description below. And well guys, that is pretty much it for today's video. Cannot believe we went through 100 Android applications. If anyone is still watching till now, a huge shout out to you guys from my side. You guys mean everything. This video took a very long time to make, and I'm sure it took a very long time to edit. Thanks to Utkarsh for that. So if you guys could share this with your viewers or with your friends, or just watch this, drop a like, comment below, let me know. It would mean a lot to me and this channel. Until then, this is Anubhav signing out. I'll catch you guys next time with a new video pretty soon, now that this big project is done. Until then, this is Anubhav signing out. You guys have a great day. Peace out.
All my friends reassure